Hey VC, how's it going? Right, okay. 1989. I've just watched Fred's video. 10 great choices. A few in there actually that I didn't know, so a couple to check out. But there were several in there which I could include in my list, so I've left those out. But earlier in the week, what I tend to do is, what I've been doing over the last few weeks with these videos is middle of the week before, I've been picking out just a bunch of albums, having a flick through, just working out what I'm going to show. This week was a little bit different because when I thought of 1989, I didn't necessarily think about albums, but more 12 inches. I was only a kid in '89. I didn't have a lot of cash, and I suppose 12 inches were an easier way to get tunes for a little bit less cash. But also as well, the type of music as well that I was listening to, that sort of indie dance crossover, was really suited to to the 12-inch format. So when I pulled out my records early in the week, it was the 12 inches that I went for. So stuff like Keep On Moving and Back to Life by Soul to Soul, Round and Rounds, New Order, Rave On EP, Happy Mondays, a couple of those, Pacific State, 808 State. Obviously this is Voodoo Ray. I think this originally came out in '88 but didn't chart in the UK till '89. It certainly makes me think of '89. But I know that Fred showed the first Stone Roses album, which I won't show that, purely because in 1989 I didn't buy that record, but I did buy the 12 Fool's Gold, the 9-minute 53-second version of the tune on 12-inch, which is absolutely wonderful, So I think about the music I was listening to up to this point, a lot of it was more rock orientated. So I quite like Guns N' Roses, that first album, the Cult, bands like that, and then suddenly this came out, and this sort of changed my outlook a little bit. As I say, I didn't buy their debut till a couple of years later, but I know in 1989 this 12-inch was played to death. So, but it's a 12-inch, so it's not my 10. But there you go. Right, okay. Fred did show this. This is the Pixies, Doolittle. I kept this in because again it's one of the best albums of the year. I saw the Pixies on Thursday night in Birmingham. Wonderful band, wonderful gig. They finished their set with the Baser, which is obviously on this record. Yeah, perfect way to finish a set, So yeah, don't really need to say any more about that. Okay, Fred showed De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising. I would have included that, but if I'm going to include a hip hop record, it's going to be Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I was cool enough to be listening to this in 1989. I was a spotty teenager with a mullet, so definitely not. But yeah, so stuff like Shake Your Rum, Hey Ladies. This is the 20th anniversary edition that came out, obviously 2009, obviously. But yeah, this is a nice pressing. But I think this is their best album. So yeah, cool. Okay, something a little bit different. Tension Derby, introducing Neither Fish Nor Flesh. This is the follow-up to Introducing the Hardline, according to his debut album. Sold 8 or 9 million copies. This sold about 300,000. Everybody thought it was a complete flop. Everybody thought it was a terrible record. He was sort of a target in the British press. Just a bit ridiculed just for being so bizarre, really, after such a big album. You can see from the sleeve that the whole intention of the record was to get the attention to die down a little bit, Yeah, I mean the sleeve itself says that, but I think the album is wonderful. I bought it in '89. Various styles on here. You've got that a cappella thing going on as well. You've got sort of a James Brown funk thing going on with a couple of tracks. Some really nice pop songs. But yeah, it's all just a little bit wonky, It's not, the first album was straight up pop music with that soul slant to it. This is just a little bit more of a harder listen, and I think it's something that turns up in charity shops all the time. If you see it, pick it up. I think it's a fascinating album. So yeah, I may be on my own here saying that, but yeah, give it a listen. Right, okay. A bit of an anomaly here for me. This is the Colourblind James Experience. Why Should I Stand Up? Love that cover. I picked this up at a car boot sale for 50p about 10-12 years ago. Didn't know anything about it, just put it on the strength of the cover. They're an American band. I think they were San Francisco based. They had a bit of success in the late 80s, early 90s, purely from being played, I think, on the John Peel show, which generated a bit of interest. This album, I think this is a lovely record. It's one that I dig out every now and again, just something a little bit different. It's got that Americana country feel to it in places, a little bit of rockabilly. It's got almost a few polkas here and there. You know, it's yeah, a nice record. I've never been tempted to check out the other stuff. I think there are another 2 or 3 albums, but yeah. So if you do see it, pick it up. Definitely worth a listen. Right, okay. The Mind Bomb. I like all of their albums. I think Matt Johnson's an interesting songwriter. Johnny Marr, of course, features on this album. I'm actually reading Johnny Marr's autobiography at the minute. However, I'm only up to 1983 now, so I don't have any anecdotes to tell you. But there you go. Yeah, the big tune on this record is The Beaten Generation. Yeah, wonderful song. I think that's probably my favourite. The song, you know, it's yeah, something I never get tired of hearing. But yeah, an interesting record. Okay, when I think of 1989, certainly the British charts, I think I automatically think of Soul to Soul. They had 2 massive singles that year, Keep On Moving and obviously Back to Life, which was #1 over here. This album sold a shed load of copies as well, Club Classics Volume 1. Yeah, it's basically British R&B, you know. I'm pretty sure that everybody knows what it's all about. Great vocalist on those 2 big singles, Karen Wheeler, a wonderful voice, and Jazzy B, gotta love him. He's almost a bit of a national treasure nowadays, isn't he? I saw them play a couple of years ago at a festival, and they're still great. This is an album that I see a lot at car boot sales or fairs or some used record shops even, get my words out, and it is always knackered. It's like a lot of those 70s reggae albums where, or late 60s reggae albums where people have picked up the record and then taken it to a party to play. This seems to be that sort of record for the late 80s. Whoever's bought it has obviously loved it, played it at parties or played it to friends, and it's always beat. But if you do see it, pick it up. Great record. Okay, Central World, Kate Bush. This is probably my favourite Kate Bush album. First 3 tracks: Central World, Love and Anger, The Fog. Says it all really. Stuff like Deeper Understanding, This Woman's Work. Lovely record. This isn't actually my copy. This is I've got an older sister. And I stole a load of records from her years ago. At some point she stole them all back, but I managed to keep hold of this one. So yeah, nice minty original UK copy. Okay, I showed, just thinking about it, Technique. I should have showed, oh yeah, fuck it, I'm sure somebody will show Technique by you order. As I was saying in my other videos, I used to like a lot of rock stuff, and there's still a few albums from that time that I listen to a lot. One of which is Marillion's Season's End. This is the first album they did with Steve Hogarth after Fish left the band. Now, I'm not a big fan of the Fish stuff, Misplaced Childhood and Clutching at Straws. You know, they're all right records. I know that many people love those records, but I like the stuff that they did on EMI when Steve Hogarth joined, which is I think the next 4 albums, and of which this is the first. Yeah, I think he's got, even now, a great voice, interesting songwriter, and yeah, I don't know, say at the time when I was into a bit of rock music, yeah, this was certainly one of my favourite records. Still stick it on now and again. The singles on this, stuff like The Uninvited Guest and Hooks in You, might sound a little bit cheesy, but yeah, I really like this record. Okay, and another rock record. Now, 1989, 1990. Obviously I started listening to a lot of, well, I was listening to a lot of Happy Mondays, New Order, Stone Roses, but I still had one foot in that sort of rock camp, particularly British rock. And one of my favourite albums, even now is one of my favourite albums, is Little Angels Don't Pray For Me. Now this might make you smile, I don't know. Well, basically this is their debut album from Scarborough, just young kids put out this rock record. They actually put out, I think, 3 albums before they split up. Their final album, Jam, went to #1, I think, in '92. They had several reasonably big hit singles in the early '90s in the UK chart. But yeah, I really got into this band. Michael Lee, the drummer, he went on to play with The Cult. He played with Robert Plant. He actually played on the Plant and Page albums from the mid '90s, No Quarter and that sort of stuff. He's a drummer on that. They reformed a few years ago just for a handful of gigs, which I went to see. Because Michael Lee sadly passed away. He was only in his late 30s, had brain hemorrhage, and I think at his funeral, when all these big names that he played with turned up, the song that they played when they carried his coffin through the church was "Don't Pray For Me" off this album. Obviously the band were there, just childhood friends, and they reformed just in his memory, which were lovely gigs. But as I say, yeah, very much of the time, that sort of rock thing. But yeah, I really got into this sort of stuff, and dare I say, one of my favourite bands. And finally, as we reach the end of this thing, I want to show a band from Birmingham. So here we go, Fuzzbox, a big pop album from 1989. Singles on this were stuff like Pink Sunshine, International Rescue. This might make you smile, but yeah, they were from just down the road from me here. Were quite a big deal locally. Obviously, that they had big tunes in the end in the pop charts. They only made 2 albums, of which this was their second and definitely their best. But yeah, Fuzzbox. That's it. Cheers.